Hello and welcome back to Calradia Expanded at War. We are currently speaking to Aldrich here. Now, obviously, in the past I've done this whole barter system thing where I've captured a town or a castle or something, and I've attempted to do a small trade here or there. I say here or there, but I've just realized, or should we say remembered, that I've taken over the entirety of Landian territory this way. Anyway, point is... in a previous trade, I neglected to take the castle that the guy had. Now, the main reason why I didn't want to do that is because castles generally have a very low trade value, and I just didn't want the hassle of dealing with the loyalty that these castles inevitably will have. So, instead, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it by taking Dowdorn Castle, Swenren Castle, and Deneen Castle from this guy. We're going to see what happens. Maybe if there's a loyalty problem or something, then I'll have to deal with it at that point, but it's always nice to gain 473,000, and I've also given away Care Band Seth in the meantime too, so, I mean, that's not terribly bad, you know, it's not awful, and you can quite clearly see here that we own, well, everything. Yes, we own everything in Vlandian territory, which is absolutely fantastic, and we are also going to be attempting to create war against the Botanians in this particular episode. I would love to be able to do that at least, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head all the way over to Western Empire territory. We're going to try and take as many things as possible. Actually, you know what? Maybe I want to take Epicrotea back real fast. That might make sense, because the loyalty there has no doubt skyrocketed pretty high, and I don't think we're really going to need to worry about it if it does indeed get taken back by us, and then we can probably give it to someone else in exchange for something. I don't really know what. Maybe we want to give it to maybe the Botanians, for example, you know, maybe we want to speak to, well, Caladog's dead now, I think, because I executed him, right? Didn't I execute him or something? I actually can't remember who I've executed now, because I've just been executing so many people. From minor factions, that is. But I think I did execute Caladog. I think so? I could be wrong about that, but anyway. Let's do a little bit of damage to Epicrotea here. It seems like this, What are these guys actually doing? Oh, they succeeded? Really? Okay, they succeeded in taking Palos Castle. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, because Palos Castle, in my opinion, could have been defended very easily. There were a bunch of Landian vassals really close by, and I was thinking to myself, why aren't they going in there? There was only 83 units in the aggressing army. I mean, Chason's army right there. Look at him. He's only got 189. He had 80 or so at the time. Before he restored a couple of them, so it's really strange, right? I don't know. I don't know what the AI is thinking sometimes. They seem to be a little bit strange. Oh well, never mind, never mind. I'm gaining so much cash, by the way. I don't know whether you've noticed that, but I'm getting, what is it, 24,000 every single day? Yeah, that's just bonkers numbers. That is just absolutely bonkers numbers. That's basically the same that you would get way back in the first versions of Bannerlord, where you would just purchase 1 or 2 wood workshops, and then you'd just have, you know, 10,000 coming in every single day, because the do you remember that, by the way, when the game first came out, and the wood workshops were so incredibly overtuned that you would basically be able to build 1, and then you would be pretty much set for the entire game, pretty much. You would make so much cash in such a short amount of time that you would pretty much just be like, oh, there you go, I've got 1 million gold now, you know, and I could basically afford anything. So yeah, that was obviously a bit of changes, you know, a couple of changes to be made and everything, which is absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with a little bit of overpowered gameplay sometimes, you know, but yeah, that was pretty funny. But generally, yeah, we're making a pretty sizable amount of cash, and we are not really in danger of losing that, actually. We are very secure in the knowledge that most of our fiefs are going to remain ours, and the only thing that can really happen is if they get taken, and that is highly unlikely at this point. Highly unlikely, because really, that would require... Well, what would that require, actually, now that I think about it? That would probably require an extremely large force of enemies to band together and to actually be able to take more than one. Because let's face it, I'm going to be able to take that back relatively easily. So I'm actually thinking, I'm wondering, are we too overpowered now? Are we too overpowered that it is getting to a point where the series must end? Because it is in such a weird position where I'm basically able to do whatever I want now. I mean, I don't think I'm that strong. I think, yeah, okay, you know, I'm running around with an army of pretty high tier units, and my own character is, I would say, decent. I wouldn't say that he's super powerful. Maybe with a polearm, yeah, with the polearm he's pretty powerful. But with a lot of the other skills, not so much. I mean, his athletic skill is kind of lacking, even though he does have a maxed out athletics. It feels very slow still in comparison to the Berserker character that we had. And personally, I would say that the Berserker character was much more powerful than this one. But still, the case, well, shall we say, the question still remains that I'm not entirely sure. Are we done? Are we done with this series? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, because on the one hand, I think to myself, maybe we are, because usually what happens is at a certain point in a series, I think to myself, can the enemy actually defeat us? Is there an opponent that can cause us any kind of problem? And I think, yeah, I think there might be still a couple of enemies that may still pose a bit of a threat. But then I go into these kinds of situations, I mean, not this one specifically right now, but, you know, if I go into a regular situation where I'm up against, I don't know, a random Sturgian army or, you know, Azurai army or something, some random army somewhere or another, and I think to myself, okay, are these guys actually that much of a threat? Well, I mean, you can see here, literally, we lost 9 units. I think in general, I'm not even see now. Here's the funny thing. I know a lot of people in the comments actually said to me, you should you know, reinstall My Little Warband. You know, you should use that. And well, here's the thing. The only reason why I actually did not use My Little Warband for this series, not because it's bad, by the way. I really love that mod. I think that mod is absolutely fantastic, by the way. The amount of customization that it offers the player is just overwhelming. It is really so incredibly cool. But it does in turn mean that your units, if you are going to make your units the best they possibly can be, your units are going to be very strong. They're going to be so strong that most of the time the enemy will be unable to pretty much do anything if you level your units up to max level. And if you have a lot of noble units, obviously. If you have a lot of noble units, then it's basically good night for any opponent that may want to try to attack you. And I'm talking about regular units here, regular parties. So, you know, usually they are in number from, like, I don't know, 100 to 200, maybe to 250 maximum. And then armies. Well, if you have an army like mine right now, where I have about 300 units in it, and if you had those with completely My Little Warband units, well, they're gonna need the god of death, basically, to murder us at that point. If we had those custom units, that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to use it for this series, because, as I say, I wanted to be a bit more on a level playing field with the AI. Because as it stands right now, if you take I mean, just take a look at the world map right here. Take a look at the world map. Who do you think could actually face us in battle and win against us? I mean, yes, okay. If there's an army out there that has over 1,000 units, I think they might stand a chance. But that is still a very uncommon sight. You know what I mean? It's a very uncommon sight to see. Let me actually just take a quick look here. I'm going to see who owns Maranath now, because Maranath is a place that I would very much like to take. We're going to go and send a messenger to this guy. Hopefully he's going to be interested in a small trade. And I'm going to be trading him Maranath for Epicrotea. Wow, he really, really does not want this. Okay, what about a couple of castles then, sir? What about Swenrin and Deneen? Yes, this is looking much better. And then I have to give him a literal 500,000? What? What? Okay. I literally have to give him that much? Yeah, that's not gonna work. That is not gonna work. That's way too expensive. I'm actually super surprised about that, to be honest. Very, very surprised about that. Okay, I'm taking a look at the banners right now, and I'm thinking to myself, do I want to try taking something... I'm thinking about... What about if I... Do I want to try attacking the Northern Empire a little bit? Because here's the thing, look at the Northern Empire right now. They're very spread pretty thinly. I mean, you can see here they only own Argoron, Saniopa, and Phykeon, and that's basically it. Apart from the castles, but I don't really count castles because they are very simple to take. I mean, Palos Castle notwithstanding, this is such an incredibly weak garrison right now. I mean, just look at it, 61. We could probably go in here and just... I mean, I'm not going to auto-resolve, but you could probably auto-resolve this and have a pretty easy time of things. You know what? I'm actually going to speak to someone from there. Oh, the Sturgians have declared war. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Bit perplexing. Wouldn't have expected them to do this, but okay. I mean, if they want to, then that is obviously up to them. But anyway, I think I'm going to speak to the guy that owns... that owns Saniopa, potentially, and then I will take Argoron myself. And then we'll see. But obviously I need to make sure that we know about the garrison there. You know, the garrison presence is basically half the battle. If you know what kind of garrison your opponent has, then you really shouldn't need to worry about it at all. You know what? I'm actually just going to continue speeding this up because I'm pretty sure my units will have a relatively easy time dealing with the enemy. I'm actually surprised I'm walking around here at super fast mode and actually not losing complete idea of where I am. But it seems like, there you go, we were able to achieve victory super fast. I mean, as you could expect. Anyway, let's have a look here. Who's this guy? He's part of a clan, so we'll let him go. This guy's definitely part of a clan as well. What about any Vlandians that I could potentially rescue here? It doesn't seem like they have any, unfortunately, so I will just move on. We do have 25 units available for upgrade, so I will be doing that in just a second too. I'm going to take Palos Castle and claim it. I'm thinking about doing a trade with either the Northern Empire right now or the Sturgians, because I have a lot of... well... I have a lot of reasons to want some of these, because, just face it, let's say I take Varnavapol and... actually, you know what? I've got a perfect idea. Whoever owns Varnavapol, I'm going to try and do a really good deal with them. Yorig? Wait a minute. Wasn't Yorig part of Vlandia at one point? No, that's for Shorky. Never mind. Okay. Getting a little bit mixed up here. Over all of these Sturgian vassals sometimes. Okay, well, never mind. Okay, so this guy's actually wanting to besiege Epicrotea. Well, this is actually not even bad, because if I'm able to speak to Mr. Yorig, then I might be able to trade Epicrotea away in the meantime. So hopefully... Oh. Can I not actually do a trade with him while we're at war against each other? Ah. Really? Okay, that's kind of interesting. I thought that you could. I thought that you could do some trades while that was happening, but apparently you can't. Okay. Well, that's good to know then, I suppose. That is good to know. Kind of sad, but still. Okay, what about Kurstad then? Kurstad, let's have a look. Prindor. Okay, we'll send a messenger to him then instead. Gonna do a trade for Epicrotea and Kurstad and anything else he owns, potentially, before the siege goes through, because as you can see, we only have 23 defenders. Technically, what I could do is I could defend this, and I could probably do pretty well defending it, but I kind of want to, you know, just throw a spanner in the works for these guys. And let's have a look. So, I can give him Epicrotea. Wow, there you go, straight up. Straight up trade. He's going to give me 25k as well. There you go, done. Perfect trade, and now these guys are not going to have any siege to do. As you can see, they're just going to leave. They're just going to leave straight away. which is perfect because now that means look at the swap. Look at the swap that we've just made. So Cool Start is right next to Revel, which is hilarious because that's my fief too. So that's really, really good. And what I would like to do is I would like to take a Resource Castle if at all possible. Do you think I could take that? I'm not entirely sure. We probably would be able to. I need to actually trade Palace Castle as well, by the way. So I'm thinking, who can I trade that with? Who owns anything nearby to this? Who's that over there? Who owns Zemyan Castle? Let's have a look. Melodia. Maybe he owns something else as well. So what I'd like to do is trade Palos Castle and see what happens there. Because I don't really want to look after that for it to be taken potentially. And it is very weak right now. You know, there's only a handful of units in there. Hello there, sir. Who are you? Sora? Okay, apparently running away. Well, that's perfectly fine. Alright, let's take a look. So, he only has Zemyan Castle, and he's fine to do a trade. Kind of. Can I trade him something else? What about Swenrin? No, he doesn't really care about that so much. What about Daldorn? Daldorn Castle is okay, but Daldorn is right next to Revel, and it's not really something that I badly want to trade. So I'm thinking I'll probably pay him. So we'll just do Palace Castle, and then I will just pay him... No. I'm not going to pay him that much. Thank you very much. Okay, so about 200,000 by the looks of things? 200,000? Is that 2 million or is that 200,000? I always get mixed up with the amount of zeros because there's just so many. Okay, yeah, I think that's fine, right? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Boom. All right, that is perfectly fine with me. So now they have a nice little area here, but bear in mind that if the Botanians do declare war against us, that is not a big deal because their garrisons are so incredibly weak we'll be able to take them almost instantaneously, which is another reason why doing this kind of thing is really, really useful. Anyway, we're going to go in here and try and help out Mr. Bovan's army because he has now engaged the Northern Empire in a field battle. Really, really want to get back onto that map. The map from the previous episode, because that was a fantastic map. Really, really enjoy that one specifically. And I really don't get it enough, to be honest. I really don't get, you know, to fight on that battlefield that often, which is really unfortunate. Ow! How dare you? I'm gonna get out my crossbow and shoot you back. Oh, okay, apparently not. Apparently I'm not gonna do that. Are you... Did you see that? It went right past his chin. It was like, nah, my chin is invulnerable to your attacks. Indeed, indeed. That is apparently what is going on there. Okay, well, whatever the case, let us murder. There we go. Not so bad so far. Getting some decent polearm kills. Oh, these guys have no idea what is up. They are using their shields and attempting to maximize the amount of damage that they can do with their polearms, but as we know, polearms that have a shield equipped are usually going to be very slow to thrust, and that is exactly what is causing them some problems, because I'm able to hit them way before they can even start moving their polearm forward. And we seem to be able to do some pretty decent damage too. I'm going to tell my infantry to charge in, going to tell my archers to come a little bit forward too, and maybe I can do some damage to the enemy cavalry in the meantime. Seems like we're losing a lot of units right now, but bear in mind that that is probably due to the fact that we are indeed helping out someone, and they are not known for their longevity, because they are most likely going to have some pretty low tier units as well. Oh, I should probably level up my crossbow skill, shouldn't I? So let me just get that out real quick. Well, we did get riding skill to 300, which I suppose is pretty decent. Bear in mind that my riding skill is actually not bad in terms of its improvement to my charge damage. I don't know whether you noticed, but I was doing... I mean, you know my thoughts on that. I mentioned that in a previous episode, but generally, I was doing okay. Okay charge damage, and I mean, I'm not even entirely sure if the horse that I'm currently riding has a decent amount of charge damage to begin with, but we are still dealing some increased damage with charge, at least. And as I said, it all adds up. You know, if you do hit someone, or many someones, for about 5 to 6 damage, maybe even more than that, then you might just finish them off, you know? They might just be limping around a little bit, and you might be able to just take out the last remaining sliver of HP. And that might help you. But, you know me. I don't really like it that much. I think that final skill is very underwhelming, and it's kind of sad, because there are a lot of other ultimate skill abilities that are so much more fun to use, and it's very strange that it would be such a, well, frankly, quite a boring one. It is quite a boring one, you know. Increases your charge damage and your maneuver for your horse. And I mean, maneuver, yeah, that's all very well and good and everything, but the charge damage, literally only increasing it by 8 or something? Well, isn't it increased by 8 for me? Yeah, increased by 8 for me. And you've also got to bear in mind, obviously, the fact that leveling up in the game, if you don't increase your experience gains or anything like that, and you use them as the developers intended, you're going to be playing this game for years before you can get to a maximum level. I know someone played the game for 1,000 in-game days, and you had only just then gotten one skill to maximum. One skill. And that was trade. And I can't even imagine how long that must have taken you, and how many trades that you had to do to be able to get that to work. And I gotta say, I applaud you for your perseverance, because I don't think I would have had the patience for that. And well, am I patient? Sometimes, but generally I don't think I would have had the patience to literally do that for that long, because obviously if you don't have any mods installed, let alone, experience gaining mods or anything like that, but if you don't have any mods installed whatsoever and you play vanilla, you play the native game, you are not going to have the ability to earn trade skill through caravans. And that was the main way that I actually did, gain trade skill in this series, actually. I mean, you saw that earlier on. And that was the only reason I was actually able to gain maximum trade skill with such a, well, relative ease, because if I didn't have that, I would literally be still running around and doing trades. And I don't know if you really, I mean, obviously if you're playing this game in your own time, then that's absolutely fine. You find enjoyment in whatever you find enjoyment doing, and that's perfectly fine. That's great. However, for a series, probably not the best idea, because you are obviously then going to just be running around and trading things. And generally, if you can make that fun, then that's absolutely fine. But I've done that before, and having 10 straight episodes of literally just running around trading and everything, it's not the most riveting stuff, unfortunately. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame. Anyway, it seems like the Western Empire have actually made peace with us, and we are now going to just head back very quickly to Epicrotea, because I would like to sell my prisoners before we move on. There we go, another 14,000, not too bad. What else do we have in here? 36,000, let's just sell the shields and the thrown weapons, and then we'll move on. We have 290 units. Okay, so Saniopa. I'm actually going to speak to the guy that owns Saniopa, see if we can maybe do a little bit of a trade. Penton. Okay. I think he's actually a pretty reasonable guy, so he might be... oh, actually, we can't even trade. We can't even trade because he's at war with us. I just remembered. Right? Yeah. We can't do that. We can't do that. Okay. So that is unfortunate. but that is to be expected, as I said before. Okay, so, well, now that the Western Empire has made peace with us, maybe we can trade with them, eh? So let's have a look. Rote. Desporion. Well, he's just been defeated by the looks of things. Okay, who owns Ortisia? I will be able to take Ortisia really fast, so maybe it's not even a good idea, but what else does this guy own? He just owns Ortisia. Well, that's absolutely worthless, isn't it? Okay, so what about Jarmaris? Let's take a look at that. Garios. Garios himself owns this. Well, he's not going to be too pleased with me, with me speaking to him, that's for sure. He's going to be in a very foul mood because he was forced to make peace with us. Okay, so who's this? You're attacking me? Why? Why? I'm just gonna auto resolve because why is this guy attacking me? I have no idea. I am in utter confusion right now. Why would that guy literally think to himself, yes, I am going to attack this person, even though I am so incredibly outmatched? Why did he decide to do that? That is a very, very strange fellow. Strange fellow. Oh well, never mind. Okay. Yes, where was I going now? Wasn't I going to... I was going to Saniopa, wasn't I? But maybe I should go to Argoron instead, because Saniopa is probably pretty well defended. Maybe not a good idea. Okay, so let's have a look at Zionica. Okay, does he want to do a trade? No, he does not. Not for Zionica, at least. What about Jarmaris? No. What about Liberatus? A little bit more likely to do a trade for Liberatus, but even so, that is going to be on the border. You know what I mean? It's going to be on the border. Coolstart is, by comparison, pretty far out of the way, and it's definitely something that I wouldn't like to trade away for something that is so incredibly risky. So, unfortunate, but it seems as though I will have to do nothing about this. I mean, I could trade some castle. What? That was really valuable for him? Daldorn Castle is really valuable for him? Wait a minute. Yeah, no. Not as valuable as these. Okay, well, what about... Okay. Wow. What? He's happy to trade this? Liberatus must have been besieged multiple times, because the prosperity must have taken a huge plummet. That's the main reason why this is happening. Huh. Okay, what if I do this? How much money does he want? Well, he wants everything, basically. He wants Coolstad, and he wants all these castles, and he wants all my money. Well, yeah, don't think that's going to happen right now, unfortunately. So it seems like my only... Well, I mean, I could do some trades for castles, and that might be worth it, maybe? Maybe Resource Castle? Let's try Resource Castle while we are on our way to Argoron. If I can. Yes, I can speak to him. That's good. Alright, so I'm actually just going to execute... who's this guy? No, no, I'm not executing this fellow. I should have let that guy go. That was a mistake. I'm going to execute this fellow, though. There we go. Okay, fantastic. So now let's go on to Argoron while my messenger arrives at Tynops' location, and we can now speak to him. Okay, let's have a look. Resource Castle. I'm going to literally just offer him some money. Okay, so I could buy that for 788,000. I think I'm actually going to be okay with that. And there's a reason for it. I will see if I can maybe make this work. So 788,000. Yep, that's perfectly fine. Okay, that is great. So we haven't lost any land. We have not lost any land for this. And you'll hopefully see me do something in just a second that will actually give us the advantage overall in me doing that. And that was Tynops, right? That was Tynops. Got to remember his name, because we're going to be speaking to him very shortly, as it is. Okay, 568 in Argoron's garrison. I think we should be able to achieve victory here, but this is going to be a bit of a... it's going to be a bit dependent on what kinds of enemies actually decide to turn up, because Lukon himself is actually here, and he is, of course, the leader of the Northern Empire, so we are maybe in a bit of a tough spot. If a number of vassals come to his aid, then this is going to be very bad. But I might be able to complete my construction before anything like that happens. I have a feeling that they're going to go in as soon as this guy appears. Yep, there we go. They are now going to go in. So unfortunately my battering ram is not done, so we're just going to have to do this with the good old-fashioned siege ladders. And that is never a good sign either. So, yeah, well, never mind, never mind. Can't really do much about it now. Let's do this. Alright, I'm going to try and get up into the castle as soon as possible. There we go. Nice. Okay, ooh, that was a very smooth ascension into the battlements. Very good. And I don't think I really need to even worry about the enemies now, because it seems like no one is around here wanting to stop me. I do want to take out this guy, because he's going to be way too annoying. Ah, hello there. Unfortunate that that was not a headshot. And then he moved. Did you see that? That was some supernatural movement right there. That was hilarious. Ah, I see where they're coming from now. So it seems like the reinforcements are coming from all the way on the bottom, and they're coming to get up these stairs through the tower here. That is where they're coming from. And we are needing to be a little bit careful now, because I am being outnumbered. I'm not entirely sure where all my forces are going, because there are a lot of enemies pouring out of this area here. And it kind of makes sense to stick here, so that we can maybe try to defend it a little bit. We are getting some chamber blocks going on as well. Seems like the enemy is very good at that. Well, I got murdered. I got absolutely murdered by that guy. And that is exactly the reason why I very much do not like enemies that are equipped with blunt weaponry. Blunt weaponry is basically my nemesis. They are so good at using it because it's faster, usually, than what I'm using. And it also penetrates heavy armor, which is obviously what I'm using. It has the highest penetration value of any weapon in the game, and closely followed by piercing weapons, of course, and then you obviously have cutting weapons too. But generally, as I say, any single unit that uses a one-handed mace, it's basically good night from me. Good night from me at that point. I am literally just going to fall over at the first sign of a hammer for some reason. But anyway, there you go. Okay, I will take all the prisoners because we are very close to a town. In fact, we are right inside, so that is great. Let's just sell all those prisoners right quick, and now I'm going to wait here for some time. I would assume these guys are literally going to, you know, want to do something with us right now. They're probably going to try a siege. So I'm going to send a messenger to Mr. Tynops here while I regenerate my HP just a little bit. Ah, there's the army. The inevitable army that is going to appear and attempt to do some kind of siege. But I don't think that that's really going to do much. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to speak to Tynops now until they leave. And hopefully they will leave. And they seem to be. which is good. So now let me go outside. Didn't want to leave before that because I don't know where I'm going to appear. Okay, there's Tynops. Now we can speak to him. And this is going to be great because now what I can do is I can give him Argoron and I can literally take all of his money. Boom. Like that. Very, very easily. And there's only 7 defenders here, so any enemy that wants to take this back, they can very easily take this back without any issues whatsoever. Now that is also the reason why I generally thought it would be a good idea to try to do trades with enemies, you know, so like actual current enemies, but unfortunately that is not possible. It seems like maybe they changed that or something, because I think you used to be able to do trades like that, but not any further. Maybe I'm mistaken about that particular detail, but whatever the case, that is going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.